IBF Super Middleweight Champion and IBF and WBO Middleweight Champion. Go to J. Calderon Boxing Talk.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's Boxing Talk. This Saturday, September the 15th, it is the much-anticipated rematch between Canelo Alvarez and middleweight kingpin Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. This is a rematch of the fight that took place just 1 year ago, last year in Las Vegas, where yours truly, J. Calderon, was in the building for that fight. And it was a great matchup, a very good fight, the most anticipated fight of last year. And this fight came down to a draw. A lot of boxing fans are on the fence about who really won that fight. You had Canelo Alvarez, who boxed very well in the first half of the fight, looking very good with his combination punches and his quick hand speed. But it was Gennady Golovkin that finished off strong in the second half of this fight with his beautiful, powerful jab. And he was able to put the pressure on and land those hard-hitting shots to really pave the way to a decision where a lot of people felt that Gennady Golovkin truly won that fight. In my opinion, I don't see nothing wrong with the draw. I thought it was a draw myself. I scored it 6 rounds apiece for Gennady Golovkin and also Canelo Alvarez. I didn't see nobody really taking fully control of this fight. It was a very close fight, a very tough fight to score, but I gave it a draw. Now this fight comes in a year later, and Gennady Golovkin is ready for this fight. And Canelo Alvarez, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding him because of the whole steroids use. This guy is in the best shape that I've ever seen them before. I think Canelo Alvarez is hungry for this fight. He truly wants to show the public that he is not a steroid cheater, and he wants to show the world that he is the best middleweight at 160 pounds, and Gennady Golovkin is the middleweight king of the division. Now let's go back and touch on some things that this fight was supposed to take place in May, but it didn't happen on Cinco de Mayo due to the fact that Canelo Alvarez, as we all know, tested positive for steroids. Now, Canelo Alvarez said that the steroids that were found in his system was because of contaminated meat. We know that Mexico has an issue going on right now with their meat being contaminated with steroids. Canelo Alvarez, I really can't take to what he's really saying as being truthful, you know, because this guy is a multi-millionaire. He has chefs that are in his team, and this guy knows the problems and issues that are going on in his country. Why would you even risk, with this much money on the table, this big of a fight of this magnitude, why would you risk your training camp being in Mexico when you have trained in California and other places other times, and this time around you decided to train in Mexico and not even import your meat into your training camp and deal with the situation at hand? Now he is labeled a drug cheater, a steroids user. We know that the steroids that were involved in this case are used mostly for asthmatics, guys that have problems breathing, and we know that Canelo Alvarez has had many issues throughout his career with stamina, with not being able to finish the fight off strong, and that he fades in the second half of the fight. So this is a very good coincidence that this type of steroids was found in his system, and we know that these are the issues that he has had throughout his career. You know, so it's very hard to believe Canelo Alvarez that he was eating bad meat and this guy came up positive. Whether it's true or not, we know now that the fight is going to happen. We can't wait. The fans have been waiting for this fight for a year now. They're finally going to get into the ring. These guys are in tremendous shape. Canelo Alvarez, like I said, he has something to prove because of all the criticism that he has had. He's ready to face Triple G, and I believe that Canelo Alvarez has a good shot at winning this fight because Canelo Alvarez has the hand speed. He showed in the first fight that his quick hand counter-punching ability is definitely a very key factor in this fight to overwhelming Triple G with his punches. You know, Canelo Alvarez has some decent boxing skills. What he doesn't have is great footwork. He has a very good jab that he's able to utilize, and that upper body movement where he's able to slip some shots and make Triple G miss, because Triple G in that first fight missed a lot of shots in that first half of the fight. But Triple G's jab is something that paved the way to really being successful in the first fight. He has a very strong jab, and Triple G can control Canelo Alvarez from the outside the same way he did to David Lemieux when they fought in Madison Square Garden. What Triple G did not do in the first fight was go to the body. Triple G is an excellent body puncher, the same as Canelo Alvarez. We know Alvarez is going to work the body and also work the head with his combination punches. But Triple G needs to go to the body way more, and he has to be effective to the body along with the jab. He has to get Canelo Alvarez on the ropes like he did the first time around and punish him to the body and set up those shots. Cut off the ring much better this time around and set up those traps. Triple G is a very strong physical fighter, and I believe he's a lot stronger than Canelo Alvarez, but he's a lot slower, so Alvarez is able to get away from some of those punches. Canelo's gonna have to have that stamina throughout 12 rounds because I don't believe any one of these guys are gonna get knocked out in this fight. Both men have excellent chins. They have very strong chins, especially Triple G. You saw when he caught Alvarez's best shot, the same punch that knocked out Amir Khan and also James Kirkland. Now, a lot of people will say those guys have glass chins, and of course they do. But Canelo Alvarez has put down many men with that same overhand right, a very powerful overhand right. Alvarez is the guy that most people are going to lean to go to the 12th round and win a favorable decision, because we saw in the first fight when one of the judges, Adelaide Bird, gave him a 118 scorecard, and that was just totally ridiculous. A lot of people were upset with that scorecard, so you got to wonder, are these judges going to be looked upon to really do the best job possible to get the right decision? While Triple G is the favorite going into this fight, Canelo Alvarez is still the money man. He is still the biggest draw in boxing today, and he's the one that's expected to come out on top and to prevail with a better game plan second time around. But it's Triple G that has to execute better and do much more harder work in order to get victory. I want to see Triple G go to the body, continue that beautiful jab, and land those big punches on the inside to really make it a dogfight. Will Canelo Alvarez stick to his word and really fight like a true Mexican? Because Canelo Alvarez is no Julio Cesar Chavez. He ain't those type of Mexican fighters that goes in there toe-to-toe, mano-to-mano. He will fight you in spurts every now and then, but he likes to box. He likes to implement a little bit of that Oscar De La Hoya style where he jabs and moves in the ring and tries to work the body. But this guy right here doesn't have that great footwork, and Triple G will have to cut off the ring in order to pressure him and really break him down and show that he has the better stamina and the stronger willpower down the stretch to really physically beat down Canelo Alvarez in order to get a late round stoppage or a decision victory in his favor, because he's been overwhelming throughout this fight, especially the second half of the fight where Canelo Alvarez tends to start to slow down and he starts to lose stamina and really is not that effective going into the later rounds, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th round. You're going to see Canelo Alvarez starting to wear down, and that's where Triple G has to strike. He has to be able to hurt Canelo Alvarez and shake him up enough to really get the judges on his side to score a decision victory. It's going to be a close fight. Like I said before, it's a 50-50 fight, and I believe that who implements the better game plan down the stretch is going to become the winner. I'm rooting for Triple G. You see, I got my Triple G hat. I've been a fan since day one, been watching Triple G way before he came to the United States to make a name for himself. And I'm going to be there in Las Vegas, J. Calderon on the scene. I'll be representing my Mexican fans on Mexican Independence Day, and I will be watching very closely as we look for victory for Team Triple G. So tune in to HBO pay-per-view for the big showdown to see who will be, pound for pound, the #1 king in the middleweight division. Now, we're going to do a recap over the fight that just took place this past weekend in the welterweight division. It was Shawn Showtime Porter paving the way to victory for the WBC title against Danny Swift Garcia. Yours truly, J. Calderon, was in New York City for that fight. It's been a blessing this year that I've been able to go to some of these fights, and I was there to watch it live. It was a beautiful fight, a great fight. Danny Garcia started off very well in that fight because we saw a different type of Shawn Porter in this fight. We saw a Shawn Porter that said that he was going to box and try to outbox Danny Garcia, and that's exactly what he did in the first half. But it wasn't that effective because Danny Garcia was landing the cleaner shots, the more accurate punches, especially with that right hand, that looping shot that he was able to catch Shawn Porter, and Porter showed that he had a great chin. Eating those shots by Danny Garcia, Garcia landing the vaulted left hook, And Shawn Porter continued to stay right there, continue to box on his toes, using the jab effectively. But I had Danny Garcia winning the first 3 rounds. I had him up and looking good for the first 3. Then in the 4th round, we saw that Shawn Porter went to plan B. He started to be more aggressive, started to go to the body, and it was a beautiful display of body work by Shawn Porter. And this is something that I said in my first video, that I knew that Shawn Porter was going to go aggressively to the body against Danny Garcia. And that's exactly what he did in this fight. It was a very good Shawn Porter performance. It's probably the best performance that I've seen in Shawn Porter, because he was able to mix it up a lot more in this fight than he's done in the past. Danny Garcia did a great job staying off the ropes for most of this fight, because he kept the fight at the center of this ring. But also Shawn Porter was just so aggressive and continued to put that pressure, going to the body, landing a lot of combination punches. He showed the faster hands in there against Danny Garcia. Garcia showed tremendous heart. You know, you got to give this guy credit. He stood in there to the very end. He started to slow down, started to see the wear and tear on his face. He caught a couple of headbutts. Shawn Porter's a very aggressive fighter. He leans with his head a lot of times, and he catches his opponents. And Danny Garcia got the worst of it. You know, he had a cut on the top of his head. He was bleeding in the 12th round. You know, the 10th round was the best round of this fight. These guys went at each other. It was an excellent round. Fans were on their feet. They went toe-to-toe, non-stop action. Danny started to go to the body really good in the late part of this fight, where he was catching Shawn Porter with some beautiful body work as well. But Porter returned the favor, landing his own body work, landing the uppercut on the inside. And this guy was just overwhelming Danny Garcia with activity. It was just more volume versus accuracy, because even though it wasn't pretty for Shawn Porter, and a lot of those shots didn't land quite cleanly, but it was Shawn Porter that outworked Danny Garcia, and Shawn Porter was being the one that was most effective throughout this fight. When I watched this fight live, I saw Shawn Porter just running away with this fight as a one-sided fight. I had him winning 9 rounds to 3 against Danny Garcia. I rewatched the fight on TV, and I gotta say it was a much closer fight than that. But still, I couldn't see Danny Garcia winning more than 4 rounds in this fight. You know, I rescored it 8 rounds to 4 for Shawn Porter. You know, the judges scored it, I believe, 7 rounds to 5. I don't have a problem with that. The judges got it right. They scored the unanimous decision for Shawn Porter. And it was a well-deserved decision victory for Showtime Shawn Porter. I'm very happy. He's a great guy, and he is now the WBC welterweight champion of the world at 147 pounds. You still have Keith Thurman, who was there on the scene as the #1 guy. I know he's been inactive. A lot of fans were booing him at the Barclays Center, and this guy is still undefeated. He was unified champion. He gave up that WBC title. He was not stripped of that title. He gave up that title, and that title now belongs to Shawn Porter because he earned it. He is still the #1 guy to beat in the welterweight division. When will he come back? We still don't know when he's going to come back into the boxing ring. When he does, hopefully it will be a fight where he gets to shake off the ring rust and then have a big fight in 2019. We would like to see him this year get back before he steps into the ring for a big fight next year. Now, Errol Spence, who is considered the best 147-pounder in the division and a fan favorite to the boxing world, Errol Spence called out Shawn Porter at the end of the fight. He stepped into the ring. He said he wants this fight. This fight is not going to happen next. Both men are not afraid of each other. Both men definitely want to fight. The WBC is not going to have Shawn Porter do a unification match. And Ken Porter did say that he wanted the fight next to happen, but I believe they're going to take another fight, perhaps the guy that fought on the undercard, the Cuban kid, that's going to wind up fighting Shawn Porter next. You know that Mikey Garcia was also at hand, and he says that he wants to fight Errol Spence. And that's a fight right now that's not going to happen because they're looking to make that pay-per-view. So I don't see any one of these guys fighting each other by the ending of 2018. Those big fights are not going to happen until next year. So we're just going to have to sit and wait. Terrence Crawford, who just entered the welterweight division, and I know a lot of people feel that this man, including myself, is pound for pound the best fighter in the world today. A lot of people have him as the #2 guy or the #1 guy because they have Vasily Lomachenko as their #1. But if you're number 1 and number 2 best fighter in the world, how come you're not the best fighter in your own weight class? That's because he just moved into the 147-pound weight division. He just became champion in that division. Errol Spence is considered to be the best. Keith Thurman is number 1 in the division. And now Shawn Porter slides into that number 3 spot, while the newcomer, Terrence Crawford, holds the number 4 spot as the WBO welterweight champion and the new kid on the block. But make no mistake, I believe that Terrence Bud Crawford will beat all of them in the welterweight division and will become the welterweight king when it's all said and done. I hope that he gets a chance and an opportunity to prove that. He just signed a multi-year deal with Top Rank. I think it's a big mistake. He chose to be like Timothy Bradley, his best friend, and also the way Manny Pacquiao was, to stick to his loyalty with Bob Arum, the man that got him to this position. I understand that, but guys like Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, and even Miguel Cotto decided to go the free agent route to make their own path and create their legacy even bigger and to make a lot of money as well. You know, Pacquiao and Bradley, they make great amount of money and they have Hall of Fame credentials that one day they will both be in the Hall of Fame, but they missed out on a lot of big fight opportunities, and I believe that Terrence Crawford could follow that same path. Let's hope that things will change this time around and Terrence Crawford will be able to fight like Errol Spence and Keith Thurman and even Shawn Porter, you know, instead of fighting guys like Jose Benavidez like he's about to face in October. But that's my final recap on the fight that took place and the upcoming fight. I'll be in Las Vegas for that fight. So tune into my YouTube channel as I'm going to be out there trying to get you those exclusive interviews. I'd like to thank everyone that tuned into J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Please hit that little red subscribe button. Put your email information in so you get all my notifications. Once I drop a new video, hit that like button, hit that share button, drop a comment. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and join the Facebook boxing group page, all under the same name, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support, keep watching, and please subscribe.